Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. This is episode number 235. Got another great show for you today. Another review. You know, this time of year, we are rolling into late October, early November, and a lot of times the reviews are over by this point, but the manufacturers are killing us because they are still dropping some great scopes. And we are cramming in every single review we can. We have got a hard cutoff, and that cutoff is going to be this review and one more. And we're probably not going to be doing any more until 2023 because we've got some exciting stuff planned on the show for you. I have rambled here for a minute, but in case you don't know, if this is your first time here, my name is Jason. I'm the owner of Outdoor Legacy. We specialize in all kinds of night vision and thermal optics. And I've got my co-host, the #1 salesman over at Outdoor Legacy, famous for his YouTube channel, Mr. Hans from the Hans East Texas YouTube channel. What's going on tonight, buddy?
There's a lot of people out there right now wondering, Hans has a YouTube channel?
Yeah,
So
famous,
yeah, go check it
where?
out. Thank you. Thank you very much. HANSETX on YouTube. Go check it out. Thank you. Jason, I want to give you a special congratulations. This is a very special day.
Okay.
We just rolled over 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I have this, on my notes because I know you don't pay attention to stuff like that. But I got a notification or email or something saying that we had just crossed over the 10,000 subscriber mark. So that's awesome. That's a big deal, man. Very thankful for all of you out there. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the listens and streams and everything else that you do for us. All the people that call in that are buying scopes that have questions and always say, hey, we watch you on the show. Love the show. Thanks for the content. There's a lot of love and appreciation. And we thank you very much. So also with that being said, again, congratulations, Jason. It was 98% you.
You're the executive. You're the executive producer. That's the title that we've somehow given you. So no, you get 51% of the credit. So, but Hans is right. Thank you to all the listeners, all the viewers. We really appreciate you. Yeah. I mean, it's y'all. It's not us. We're just two old, East Texas rednecks babbling for 45 minutes a week, and we appreciate all y'all that have tuned in religiously, some of you for years, and it means a lot to us. So thank you very, very much. And I'm going to ramble here for one more second and say what Hans was kind of talking about, the folks that call and choose to do business with us. That is the biggest thank you can give us. We really, really appreciate all of our customers that listen to this show and then choose to do business with us, because we know that it's your hard-earned money. These are big purchases. You can take your business anywhere you want. And so we are very thankful. We're grateful. We're honored when you choose Outdoor Legacy to be your night vision and thermal dealer. That it means a lot to us. It keeps Hans and I, both our families, fed, as well as the Angela and Michaela, the ladies that work for us in the office. So it keeps these shows coming. It means a lot to us. So thank you, all of you.
So I had to talk to a guy last week that said he watched the show and he's like, man, I can't believe you called. They're like, I know y'all are a big company, but I didn't expect it to talk to you. And I was like, yeah, man, me and Jason talk to everybody that calls in and is trying to buy a scope and has questions. We call. Switching gears a little bit. This past Monday it was Halloween. If you're watching on the day that it's released, 1st of November or beginning of November, last Monday was Halloween, and my wife is going to kill me. But if you're watching if you're not watching on YouTube, go check it out, because here is a group picture.
I've seen this
of our crew, our Halloween crew, dressed up. So the theme this year was Winnie the Pooh. So my youngest daughter, Hadley, was Winnie the Pooh. My oldest daughter was not in the picture. She's way too cool. She's 14 now, and she wanted to go do something else with her friends. So she's not in the picture, but we got some friends in there with us. My wife is the most attractive Eeyore that anybody's ever seen, and she played the part. People loved it. Come up and commented on her. But if you want to see what Halloween looks like in East Texas, go check that out. That picture on our YouTube video. If you're just listening online, I'm not a huge. I'm
just
not a huge.
Disappointed that you are not in.
A lot of people ask you like, "Hey, you
dressed
dress up? Yeah,
Pooh.
are you going to be in the picture?" You know, somebody has to be the official photographer for Halloween. That's me. Halloween is my least favorite thing that we celebrate, or I guess we don't celebrate it, but do. You know, the kids. I like it now that the kids have never really been into like scary outfits or anything. They've always been like cute characters and stuff, but this year was probably my favorite with all the Winnie the Pooh stuff. So anyway, we're getting all that out of the way. I know y'all asked to, and y'all are checking in for the Rico G LRF 384 review. I got it right here in my hands. We're going to run through the specs. We got some video of it. We're going to be showing you what's in the box. We're going to do a walk around. We've got all the info right here on the Late Night Vision Show about the Rico Gs. We're going to jump right into it after letting you sit through some of our small talk, but we definitely appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, let's get going. As Hans said, this is the iRay Rico G384. It's called the GL35R. GL35R. That's the official model number. And we're going to run down this list. Let's talk number one thing. Most important is the price. Hans, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm looking at my notes. Have a quick panic. $37.95. Am I right?
Ding,
on
ding,
that?
ding. You are correct.
Okay.
You win a free honey baked ham.
Oh, great. I wanted to be sure. I panicked. I looked down like, I did not write that on my notes. And okay. $37.95. That is the price. So we're going to run down these specs here real quick. Resolution of the thermal sensor is a 384 by 288. It is 12 microns. It's a 50 hertz refresh rate. It is using the iRay Matrix 3 processing. They're using their normal iRay Micro 2 384 core. Objective lens is 35 millimeters. It's a fast 1.0 lens. The base magnification of this unit is 3 power. So that's the lowest magnification it goes down to, 3 power. It does have a 4 times digital zoom, so that would take it up to 12 power max on your digital zoom. Field of view is about 39 feet horizontally at 100 yards. Detection range, iRay says that detecting a hot object is about 1,750 yards. That's a very long ways. Don't know that I have anywhere I could prove or disprove that. But what I can tell you is, having used this in the field a good bit, looking at deer, hogs, even saw a coyote with it the other night, and I'm not sure if I got video. I was fumbling around trying to get the video started. I wasn't expecting this coyote to pop his head out. I wasn't calling or anything, and he literally just stuck his head out and started trotting across my field down there. 350 yards, I think, is going to be the maximum positive ID range. I think 3 to 350. I had a good size hog at 350. I looked down there and said, this is a hog. There was no question. As soon as I looked at it, that's a hog. I ranged it with this rangefinder that's in the unit, and it pegged out at like 348 or 350. So, I mean, right there. I feel 350 is a max. So 350 is reasonable. Moving on, it's got an OLED display screen. The display resolution is 1024 by 768. Imaging modes, it's got several color palettes: white hot, black hot, red hot, color, and highlight mode. It's got 7 different reticles. 2 are dynamic and 5 are static. Dynamic means that that they increase in size as you use your digital zoom. It's got 4 different color reticles: black, white, red, and green. You got those options. It comes with a standard Picatinny rail mount. Hans is going to show that. We'll talk about that in a minute. It does include picture-in-picture, and as already mentioned, it has a built-in, permanently attached laser rangefinder, a very small addition onto the side of it. Again, Hans will be showing you that in a minute. It includes video recording, no audio, but video. It does have Wi-Fi in it, so you can use the InfraRay Outdoor streaming app to your phone or your tablet. It's also got a USB-C outlet if you want to run an external battery pack on it. and probably my favorite part, we'll be talking about this a lot more, but it has got a fully removable, rechargeable, generic battery. When I say generic, meaning this is not a proprietary iRay battery. This is a battery, it's called a 26650. I'm going to look at that, make sure I'm saying it right. Yeah, 26650. I'm going to tell you what it looks like. Hans,
I
was
showing it. Yeah, I had it up.
It looks like a big C battery.
It does.
I mean, that's not a D, but a C battery. To me, it's about that size, and it is removable. It is rechargeable. I've seen these things online for anywhere between $10 and $15 a piece. Here is the great news. The great news is I did a battery test on this with the battery that comes with it. It's a really good battery made by Nightcore, and charged it all the way up, plugged the thing in, ran it all the way down. I did use it a few times. I mean, just scanning around in the field, a little bit of range and a little bit of recording, but I mean, we're talking like 5 minutes, so I didn't think that counts. So this is just the best case scenario bench test, just sitting there running, and I got 8 hours on the nose. I think it was about 2 minutes over 8 hours. So I think in the field, ranging, recording, off and on, that sort of thing, I think you're going to reasonably be getting in that 7-hour range, maybe a little longer. Now, cold weather, the more ranging, if you start streaming Wi-Fi, some of that can bring that down, but that is a very good battery life on I say cheap, an affordable, rechargeable generic battery. So really, really happy. Kudos to you on that, iRay. I'm sure we'll talk about that some more.
Yeah.
Startup time is about 10 seconds, and it is instant from standby mode, which it does have. The size, you can see the size there. It's about 8 3/4 inches long and about 3.93 inches wide and 2.42 tall. So really not that small. I mean, not that small, not that big. Almost, if I round it here, 9 by 4 by 2.5. Pretty small. You can hold it in your hand. Feels real good. Weight is 23.9 ounces. And I think one of the things that makes all the iRay units very popular is it does have iRay's 5-year warranty. So this is the longest warranty that you can get currently in the night vision and thermal industry. Nobody is offering longer than 5 years right now. The industry standard has been 3 years for a very long time. So 5 years is awesome. It does have a polymer housing. It is an IPS 6-7 rating. That means it is fully waterproof, submersible to 3 foot for 30 minutes. And it's got a temperature rating of down to -4 Fahrenheit. And it's rated for a 300 Win mag or a 7mm mag. Again, one more time to say the price, $3,795. $3,795. Hopefully I didn't leave anything off that list, and that gives you an idea of what we're looking at. Now, Hans, show them what this thing looks like. Probably already showed them while I was talking.
For somebody that didn't know the price, you're pretty cocky by stating it twice, because if we didn't get the price right, then we just said it wrong twice. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. That is the right price.
I wanted people to think I really knew.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So, just what comes with the scope in the box. You got your soft shell case right here, carrying case. I got a chance to show you what the scope looked like. We'll look at it a little bit more. Here's the battery that it comes with. Like Jason said, it is that 26650 battery. Let's see on here. It said on the megahertz. Yeah. 4200 megahertz.
Milliamp hours.
Sorry.
Milliamp hours. Yeah.
So here's
not
megahertz. I was thinking about something else. So here's your instruction manual. I mean, let's talk about instruction manuals for 2 seconds. Nobody's overly positive about instruction manuals. Either they're not detailed enough, or it's too much information. They can't get to what they need. This is basic instructions on how to do basic functions on your scope. So there are some people out there that think the instruction manuals aren't that great, but it is not specific for one dealer. We get calls all the day from complaints sometimes from people about instruction manuals not being what they need to be, and it's
of every manufacturer. Yeah. And then some people say, oh, it's too complicated. And I learned a long time ago, if you try to sit down and write just one function, type it up, how to do something, I can write 3 paragraphs and didn't even do a good job at it. It's writing instruction manuals is an art.
But this scope, like all the other iRay scopes, is not difficult to operate. But again, use that as a reference to sit down and, before you go out there on the range and try to sight it in to get more familiar with the scope. You got a fancy little carrying strap for your soft shell bag. You've got your charging base. So that's for your battery. It does come with both the cables to do that, both the cables to charge the scope and also to plug it into your computer. So it comes with that, and also screws for your mount and some thermal. These are pretty cool. These little thermal zeroing heated target stickers for trying to sight it in. We use tin foil. These are some cool little stickers or little heated little things that you could use. I don't know exactly what they call them, but here's the mount that we were talking about. This is the Picatinny. So this mount will mount to any Picatinny rail. We're going to talk about that here a little bit later on to see who's that's going to work for and who it's going to be a struggle for. But with this mount, so walking around the scope, 35 millimeter objective lens, focusable eyepiece diopter right here. You got your focusable objective lens right here. 4-button ambidextrous design button layout on top. On the side, you've got your battery compartment. You got your USB connection port right there for hooking up to the computer and also for charging. You've got your laser rangefinder module permanently attached on the side here and integrated onto the scope. Now, you will not see that the videos do not reflect or do not show the range when you're ranging. It just doesn't show up on the video. Similar to when you try to show the menu on an iRay scope, the menu does not show up on videos either. But it is fully integrated and permanently attached. Jason, correct me if I'm wrong. This is the first thermal optic that has been released in the United States by iRay USA that has a permanent LRF module attached to it. I think I'm correct on that.
That's true. Yep. All their other stuff has been the opposite of the industry, which is completely removable or something you can add on. So this is permanent. It's there, you can't take it off.
I do expect
you got a hacksaw.
I do expect more of that to come down the pipe, but this is the very first one. And like Jason said, very small, compact size. Not with this mount, with another mount that we will be talking about.
Well, here, let's just do that real quick. You got that mount.
I got this
let's just do it. Hey, so I'm going to show this real quick, and then I'll let you talk about it. I'm just going to show it because I got one sitting on my desk here. This is a little bitty, tiny, small American Defense iRay USA Rico mount. Mm-hmm. This mount is the same mount that works for the iRay Bravo and all of the other Rico scopes, such as the Rico RL42, the Rico RH35, the Rico RH50, the iRay Alpha, all of those scopes. This little custom mount, it is made by American Defense. Huge fans. We love American Defense, and we're good friends with them. And this is, again, you can see I'm holding it up very, very small. We love this mount. This is what we recommend and use, especially for anybody that's using a fixed stock rifle. This mount is $199 extra. It does not come with the Rico G, but $200 will get you this mount. And it is our preference, especially for AR style rifles or anything with a collapsible stock. And Hans, you can talk to him about the non quick detach mounts you've got.
So this
comes with
this is the factory mount that comes with it. Again, it mounts anything with a Picatinny rail, but this is going to be more ideal for bolt action rifles. It sits as you can see, it sits the scope very far back compared to where it actually attaches to the Picatinny rail. So if you're a bolt action rifle shooter and you are interested in this scope, this is going to be ideal. If you are an AR style rifle user, I would strongly recommend just picking up that mount at the same time. Save yourself a headache down the road. Just get the ADM mount. But if you also want to use the scope to be able to take it on and off the rifle, maybe use it as a monocular when you're not using it as a scope. Yes, it's small enough that you can do that. You're definitely, again, going to need the smaller ADM mount. But, the ADM mount is so versatile for what you can do with it. But again, bolt action rifle, if that's all you shoot, it comes with the mounts you need. So that's all there in the box. But get a chance to see it. I mean, very similar size and diameter as a lot of scopes in that $3,000 to $4,000 price range that we've talked about before, Jason.
Okay, so I really like this unit. I think that I did not weigh it next to the others. Look at the specs. I think I said it was, 23.9, so 24 ounces. Feels pretty lightweight. I mean, I really, now that mount, that big long mount you got's a little bit heavier. You know, I'm holding up this little ADM mount, and it's so tiny. I mean, it weighs, a couple ounces.
Right.
So with this mount on it that we normally use, it just feels really good. It does feel good in the hands if you wanted to use it as a handheld. I want to talk about a couple quick things that we get asked a lot, and this is going to be true of this unit as well as, other iRay laser rangefinders, or other brands. People say, how far can you accurately range? And what they're a lot of times they're asking is like, because if you use a normal daytime laser rangefinder, a lot of those are pretty limited. You get out there at 200-300 yards and it gets tough. If you don't have something reflective or a big tree, a lot of times it just can't get that bounced back. Yeah. I don't know what it is because I don't understand laser rangefinders. Not that I really care, but whatever the technical specs are, across the board, thermal laser rangefinders are awesome. They work a very long ways, very easily. I got like a little, I don't know what it is, maybe a Bushnell or something, daytime laser rangefinder. Man, I gotta try to range 10 times to give me a range back, unless I'm just looking at something 50 or 75 yards. And I'm sure it's not the most expensive, nicest one, but it works. These are way better than that. Your only real limitation in a hunting situation is your ability to hold it steady. So I don't know how far. I mean, I don't know if it said in the specs. I didn't see it there, how far it will range. It doesn't matter. It'll range way further than you need to range. Right. I was having absolutely no problem, like I mentioned, that hog out there at 350 yards. Now, that's on a tripod. So when I say, you're the limiting factor, what I mean by that is if you've got this thing just holding it up in your hands, let's say it's not on a rifle, you're gonna start shaking. You don't realize it, but you get out there and you try to put that dot, thread that needle at say 350 yards, it gets tough. If you're holding your rifle up with no tripod, that's going to be even worse because you're going to be holding that weight shaking. So ideally, you're going to want to be on a tripod or on a rest of some sort, whether you're hunting out of a blind or something. So if you got a good rest, I don't think ranging 300 to 400 yards is any problem. Maybe further than that if you can hold it steady enough. So again, I just like to explain to people it's really not a limitation of the laser rangefinder. It's just your ability to hold it still, if that makes sense.
Very, very good point. So, and very similar to some of the challenges that you might run into with other scopes, other manufacturers out there, just the limiting factor of you being able to keep it still. Now, you being rock steady solid, man, I know you don't have a problem, but
I'm the shakiest gun in the West. What are you talking about?
My arms don't shake. My knees knock back and forth whenever I see something out there. But no, other than that, I think you're correct. I really like the fact that since we're talking about kind of just our some general thoughts on this thing, I like the fact that it's their first optic with an integrated and permanently attached LRF unit, and they did it in a very small and compact size. I mean, other than, you got this model, but other than something like the AGM Varmint, which is a smaller compact scope, this is pretty much it. But this seems quite a bit. Well, it's definitely smaller than the Ricos, especially when you put the removable module on there. But I mean, if this is the form factor for the future, with rechargeable batteries, I mean, think about this size scope with other manufacturers. Those are using two CR123 batteries. This is using one rechargeable battery and getting great battery life. So, I mean, that's a trend we're seeing. More and more scopes are coming out with this type of useful practicality of these rechargeable, easy access batteries, very inexpensive batteries, and it's a good trend that we like to see.
It's a great trend.
Yeah.
Hey, one more thing talking about the LRF is one thing I really like about the unit is that when you turn on the laser rangefinder, it is in basically a continuous scan mode.
Yep.
And I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
And like the other Ricos, when the laser rangefinder is turned on, you still keep your reticle.
Yeah.
So, you have a little laser range finding box that's not going to be matched up perfectly with your reticle once it's zeroed, but that box is on the screen. You put that over the animal, and again, it is continuously giving you a range, and you can still, again, go to your reticle, while you're have the rangefinder pulled up. So I really like that as well. The other Ricos are that way, but I was glad to see it on this as well.
More and more people are calling up and asking about laser rangefinder units or wanting to have the ability. I think we're seeing, we are seeing more options with laser rangefinder. I hunted with a guy last night, not new to night hunting, but fairly new. I mean, doesn't do it as much as we do it, Jason, and I don't expect anybody to be that crazy. But he normal conditions or normal use out there quite a bit of time. But we saw a coyote, and he said, "Man, I couldn't tell if that thing was 50 yards away or 300 yards away." The weather wasn't great; it was real humid, kind of muggy, and that's the challenge. And having these laser rangefinders does make it a lot easier to do that. I do like the trend that we're seeing, and maybe someday, Jason, it'll be just like all scopes now pretty much come with video recording. It's hard to find one that doesn't come with video recording. Maybe laser rangefinder is the next feature that's possibly be standard on a lot of this stuff in the years to come.
It could be. I do think they're becoming more common, and I like the fact, and I know you've said this 2 or 3 times, but it's the size. This laser rangefinder. It just sits there. It's like you said, it's permanently attached, and that allows it to be the word is form fitting. I mean, the way they've made it here, it's just part of it, and it's smooth, and it doesn't feel like it sticks way off. I will tell you something that I'm bad about doing, and it's not just this unit. I think I did it worse on this unit because this unit is really small. Is I would get my hand up in front of the laser rangefinder because it's small. A lot of these others, the laser rangefinder is a pretty big, even like the other Ricos, the big module. I mean, you don't forget that it's there. I mean, it's sticking off the side. And with this, a lot of times I would just like real gently lay my hand up there and I'd try to range, like, why is it not ranging? And I'd be like, that's so strange. And then I'd like, oh, you moron, you got your pinky in front of it. Yeah. So again, I mean, it was just because it's small. It's I would forget that the thing is sitting right there. So I tell you what, let's go ahead. I want to talk about who it's good for and some of that and kind of our recommendations. But first, I want to do the part that is something I know a lot of our regular listeners like the most. And it's where we give basically our likes and our dislikes. What are the things that we don't like that we would change if we had the magic wand to wave over this? And I know we've each got a couple things. Hans, you wrote something down, and I can't read your handwriting.
Yeah, that's true.
What would you like to change?
The 2 things that I have noted. First of all, this is by name the Rico G LRF 384. So it is a Rico. If you think about the other Rico models on the market, you got the Rico RL42, which is a 384 resolution, 4-16 power, quite a bit bigger in size. You got the RH35, which is a 640 resolution. You got the RH50, which is also a 640 resolution. But this is a Rico G. Don't think that because it's named the Rico that it has the same picture quality as the Rico MK1 RL42. That's the 384 resolution, 4-16 power. This is very comparable to the picture quality of the Bravo, which is close in picture quality to the RL42, but not quite as good. So just so you know that it is not the equivalent to the Rico RL42. There are 2 main differences: a little bit less picture quality, and it's a 3-12 power and not a 4-16 power like the Rico RL42, which is what now, right around $4,000. So
$4,000. Hans, is it safe to say? I mean, I'm going to say this on the show and ask you, but don't you feel like this is a Bravo with? I mean, obviously there's changes. I mean, batteries but it's a Bravo image quality with a laser rangefinder.
It's a Bravo,
the iRay Bravo,
and I don't want people out there to think that's a negative, because it's not at all. Here's the Bravo. The Bravo has great picture image. The best thing about this, though, this has rechargeable batteries. The Bravo doesn't have rechargeable batteries, and this has a laser rangefinder. The Bravo does have a laser rangefinder. So yes, same quality picture image, which is great, with two very, very important and valuable features with the laser rangefinder and rechargeable batteries. So yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah. And guys, if you don't know, we're talking about the iRay Bravo, and it's also called the Rico Bravo as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But the iRay Bravo, that is, again, very similar scope to this. It's $3,495, $3,500. Right. Let's just say $3,500. Great scope, very popular. If you don't need a laser rangefinder, it's probably still the scope for you. But what's great about this is $300 more, and you're getting the laser rangefinder. If you want to add this American Defense mount, we're talking about $200 more. So $500, you're getting the same, American Defense quick detach mount, the laser rangefinder, and the battery pack. There's probably going to be some guys that upgrade and buy this just for the battery, to be honest with you, that really, really like these rechargeable batteries. So anyway, I took over what you were saying. Yeah, I agree. It's a Bravo. It's not an RL42 for whatever that's worth. What was that was on my list. So the only other
negative I had was the mount. So this mount is very limiting, meaning I mean, if you have a bolt action rifle, then this is great. If all you're ever going to shoot with is a bolt action rifle, this is going to be perfect for you. If you at all ever want to shoot it on an AR style rifle, I hate to tell people they have to do something, but you're going to have to get the ADM mount. Just save yourself some pain and time and anguish. Go ahead and pick up the ADM mount. This mount on it.
Why is that? Explain why that is.
I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but as you can see where it clips onto the Picatinny rail, you got your throw levers here. You got, where it clips in or hangs into the slots on the Picatinny rail. That scope that part where it clips on sits so far forward to get proper eye relief. This thing, scope can't be too far back. Well, on an AR, you are basically, you go from mounting it onto the upper receiver onto the handguard, and you don't want to do that. You should never do that. You have your mount go be attached to your handguard and your upper receiver at the same time. So if you just want this to be mounted only on the upper receiver, the scope's so far back that it's you can't get proper. It's up in your face. It's just not comfortable. Now you could probably flip the mount around. That doesn't help you because then the scope's too far forward on an AR style rifle. But again, bolt action rifle, that's where you need that scope to sit back a good long ways. So that'll be helpful for you. So again, if you plan on using AR style rifle, go ahead and buy the ADM mount at the same time. You're going to need it. It's just plain and simple.
Okay, let's talk about some positives here. I think this is just going to be, I'm going to go over these real quick because we've already talked about a lot of them in depth, and I think it's just really putting them in a list form. These are some things I wrote down, and it is the battery. I mean, that's our number one thing, guys. We've been pushing this. We've been telling the manufacturers, some like it, some don't, but the removable, rechargeable, generic batteries are something that we all love. We love them as dealers. You love them as consumers. We love them as hunters. Just the fact that it's something I can affordably buy for $10, $15, $20, whatever it is, depending on which battery and which scope. At this one, again, anywhere from 10 to 20 bucks. Long battery life. And you know what, even if it wasn't for that price, you can buy a bunch of them. But we really, really like that. So I think that's really nice. And I know I had a guy say, well, it's a weird battery, and I wish it was something I could go pick up at Walmart. I'm like, yeah, but it's a rechargeable battery. You may have to order it, but it's cheap as they're. Order 4 or 5 of them and forget about it. I mean, it's not something, because they're rechargeable. You're not going to be buying these, once a month. You may buy these every 3 to 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So buy them once and forget about it. Get a few extras, keep them charged up, keep them in your hunting bag. And man, with the battery life, like I said, we got 8 hours on a bench test. Anywhere in that, 6, 7, 8 hours, a long time. So really, really like that. As we mentioned, the size, the weight, it fits good on a rifle. It feels good. Again, if you were gonna take it off and hold it in your hand, maybe throw it in your hunting bag or something, for riding around on the side by side, it's a good size for that. Menu system, ease of use. This is not a difficult scope to understand. If you've ever used any other kind of thermal, it's going to be super easy. Even if you hadn't, you're going to figure it out. So really like that. I like the 4-button layout. That's different from the Bravo. So what this does is the 4th button is your power button. And what I like about that is now that one button is dedicated to powering off and on the scope. It frees up the other 3 buttons for all of your normal menu functions. And I like that. So I think that is helpful, makes it a little bit easier to use. And as mentioned, I like the fact that the range finding box stays on the screen, or sorry, the reticle stays on the screen when you're using the rangefinder. That little box and the reticle are there. At the same time, that's my list of pros. There's a lot more pros, very, very few cons, really good scope. Hans, why don't you tell us, who do you think needs to be looking at this? Is this long-range coyote hunters? Is it close-range hog hunters? What is it? Who would you say is your ideal target for this scope?
Exactly right in the middle of both of those options.
Okay.
I would say that, and I hate to break it down in between hog hunters and coyote hunters, because now these days we're pretty much, a lot of us are one and the same, unless you're up north or east or west coast where there might not be a lot of pigs. But I would say what I typically tell people with a 3-power optic, if most of your shots, 99% of your shots are going to be under 150 yards, but 99% of your shots or 80% of your shots are going to be, over 60, 70 yards, then a 3-power optic is going to be great for you. If you are the best coyote hunter in the world, and every dog is jumping in your lap, and you're shooting them at 20 yards, if you're hunting in tight brush cover all the time, you probably don't need a 3-power optic. If you're what I like to say, the intermediate range, 60, 70 yards to 150 yards. Now, if the majority of your shots, 99% of your shots or more, are over 150 yards, you might want to go to a 3.5 power. You might want to go to a 4 power, like the RL42, which is a great option for that, average close to 200 yard shooting distance, which some people are. But this intermediate range, 70 to 150 yards on average, I think it's perfect. I think 3-power is perfect for that.
I'm going to jump in. I'm going to interrupt you for a second, because I'm listening to this, and I'm trying to listen to it as somebody who maybe hasn't, doesn't have a lot of experience. Hans is not saying you can't shoot 200 or 250 yards with this scope. Right. He's not saying that under the right conditions, you might not could shoot further than that. He's saying these are the ideal sweet spot conditions for the scope. Shooting 200 yards with this, or even 250 for the right shooter, is not a problem. Right. The scope is fully capable of that. Right. But what he's saying is, if you're like, hey, my minimum shot's 150, I'm shooting 250 on average, he's right. You're probably going to want some more magnification, because you're not going to be shooting, most people, 250 at 3-power. You're going to need more magnification than that. So, you're going to be wanting more. He's right. That point, if your average shot is 150, 200 plus, I think you need to get a 3.5 or 4 power. So anyway, I just wanted to be clear that the scope is capable of that 250 and maybe, even further in some conditions for certain shooters. I'm just making the point that
absolutely.
he's right.
And
this is its sweet
exactly. And the goal when you buy an optic, it should be to not have to bump up the magnification all that often.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be able to use and have benefit of using your full resolution. So as you know, with digital optics, every time you double your magnification, you cut your resolution, your picture quality in half. You're basically taking away half of the pixels on the screen. So, buying an optic that you rarely have to do that to take a good shot is the most important thing, I think, or one of the most important things that you can do. But going back to the initial question, Jason, that's who I think it's for, whether you're a hog or coyote hunter or squirrel hunter or, I don't know, badger hunter, whatever you're hunting. If you're within those ranges, on average, your average shot, I think it's going to be a perfect optic. A lot of people, we can have the discussion, and we have before, do I need a laser rangefinder? If you are at the point where you're about to buy something and that's the question, that's the final thing that's kind of hanging you up, call me, call Jason. We've got a lot of experience with laser rangefinder units. We can tell you, or we can help guide you in a direction as far as if that's going to be something that you need or something that you might like but might not need that much. Anyway, we can sort it all out. That's the easy part.
That's right. So, guys, this is a great scope. Again, 5-year. I didn't mention that in the pros again. The 5-year iRay USA warranty. It's a big deal. Image quality, again, very, very good. The 3 power, as Hans said, I'm going to concur with all that. I think if you're shooting a lot of 20, 30, 40 yards, I don't think you need 3 power. I think you need to be looking at a 2 power. Once you start getting over that 50, 60 yard range, or at that point, I think the 3 power starts looking a lot better. Like he said, definitely out into that 150. Again, the scope's capable of 250 plus if need be. So again, I don't think that has to be ruled down to only hog hunters or only coyote hunters. We got a lot of hog hunters buying 3 power scopes.
A lot.
We've also got a lot. Yeah. I've also got a lot of guys say, hey, you know what? I may only be shooting 30, 40 yards. I'm getting older. My eyesight's not great. I need a little more magnification.
I feel like that's me.
I'm getting
this morning I woke up. This morning I woke up and it took 30 minutes. Is this what happens? And if you comment to the video or something, if this is you, it took me 30 minutes for my eyes just to work right. Is that happening to you now, Jason? You get older? It's like they're blurry for like 30 minutes before I'm fully awake.
So I guess that since we're talking about how our eyes are getting, I'll just tell you something real funny. At church today, after church, I was sitting there talking to one of the deacons, and he was taking all the offering plates and putting all the money together for the deposit. And I looked over there and I saw a penny in the offering plate that looked old. It was just tarnished. I said, that looks like an old penny. And I picked it up and I was looking at it, trying to see the date. And I couldn't see the date. And I said, hey, what's the date on this penny? It looks old. He held it out, and he did what I call the trombone. He went from way out, way close. Yeah. I finally had to get my phone out and to open the camera and zoom in to go, that's a 1959 penny. Yeah. I knew it looked old, but we were laughing about it. We had the biggest time up there.
Now I know.
2 old men trying to read.
And now I know why I see people, in the restaurants with the flashlight on their cell phones looking at the menu. I'm like, I used to think like, man, look at that. They got a flat. They can't see that. And now I'm like, my wife's like having to put her reader glasses on. I'm having to hold up a flat.
We're getting old. Yep. We're getting old. Yep. Folks, listen, this is, again, the iRay Rico G 384, or again, that model, I want to say it right. It's the GL35R. Yeah. That's it. If you're looking for this scope and you say this is the one I want, I know it, then you need to go to outdoorlegacygear.com and you can just search right on over there, click it and buy it. They are in stock as of the recording of this video in late October, early November. And we hope to continue to keep them in stock. If you're not sure, you listen, you go, man, it sounds great, but I don't know how it compares to everything else out there. Y'all have mentioned a lot of other scopes. Maybe one of those are what I need. If you're not sure, Hans has already told you. Give us a call, 877-350-1818. We would love to help you sort and condense the list down, figure out which scope will suit you best for your conditions. We really need to talk to you. I know a lot of guys want to send a Facebook message or an Instagram message or email and say, hey, here's what I'm doing. Tell me what scope I need. And I don't care how much information you type. It's never as good as just a quick 5-10 minute phone call. We can get so much, because there could be one little thing. We could ask a question, you could say something and go, whoa, that changes everything, what I'm going to recommend. So we highly recommend just giving us a call, and we will be glad to help. We would love your business. Again, it means so much to us when y'all put your trust and faith in us to be your dealer, and we want to do that, and we want to be there for you after the sale if you need help or have questions or whatever you need. So we're there for you. Listen, he does not have it up yet, but I know he will eventually. So you may be watching this on down the road. Hans is going to put out some kind of a review of the Rico G. He does it on almost all the optics we review. It takes him a while because we review a lot of scopes, but be sure to check out his YouTube channel for tons of reviews and videos of him hunting with these optics. And I had a guy the other day who said, Jason, you must not hunt anymore. I don't ever see any of your videos. And I said, I don't have time to post them. I record the videos, I get it, and I send the footage to Hans and say, just use it. I don't have time to post it.
That is true.
All my stuff is combined over with his as well. So that's HANSETX, Hans, East Texas, at YouTube. You can find him at Instagram, find all of his pictures and short video clips and stuff over there as well. If you're there, you can find Outdoor Legacy. Just search for Outdoor Legacy, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well. And you're already here at the Late Night Vision Show. We appreciate all 10,000 of you who have subscribed. We know there's many, many more of you who haven't subscribed. We appreciate y'all watching as well, and all the people who sometimes seem to get forgotten on all the podcast because the podcast apps, because you're not in that YouTube 10,000 number, and we know there are tons of y'all as well, and we really appreciate y'all.
It's probably more like 1.5 thousand subscribers and 8,500 Russian bots, but thank y'all. We'll take it. We'll take whatever we can get. Do not miss an episode between now and the end of the year, and not just the end of the year, through January. I mean, you need to put your reminders on. Whatever you got to do, put yourself a sticky note on your computer, on your dashboard, to remind you to check out the Late Night Vision Show, the latest and greatest in night vision and thermal optics, talk, hog hunting, predator hunting. But we've got so much content coming out with our favorite scopes of the year. We've got manufacturer discussions, SHOT Show prep, the actual SHOT Show. So stay tuned. It's going to be a whirlwind, and I'm already putting in for my vacation, Jason. It's going to be sometime right after SHOT Show. I'm taking off 2 months. Just taking it off. I'm going to go ahead and put that request in right now.
It's going to be a sad late night.
Yeah, y'all take care, folks. Thank you for joining us. Stay safe in the fields. Come back to us next week, episode 236, but keep making them bacon pancakes.